So, October, November 2018, starting a new series, Manifestation Checklist. The reason for this series is I always wished I would have had this, right? So, a lot of people have commented that they liked the documentary, the movie The Secret, and yet there wasn't a how-to. And even though there are many books on law of attraction, through teaching and working with principle-based thinking and all the many things that we've worked together as a class and things that I've studied, I'm very aware of the fine points where a lot of us get off course. And so that's what I want to bring us to in these next 2 months. So the big categories will be clarity, gratitude, alignment, integrity, and forgiveness. So basically, if you get clarity, gratitude, and alignment down, and those we're going to break down into different segments and be very thorough with it, and it's not working, you want to check your integrity. And it's interesting that most law of attraction books, teachings don't reference this. And yet vibrationally, it's a very profound glitch in the system if you don't have that. So we'll be exploring that. And then if everything else is in order and you're still not making the progress that would be logical for you to make, then it's time to pull out the forgiveness mojo. And so we'll spend some time talking about what that is exactly and why that affects things. So this is the order we're going in. Our clarity is actually a big one. So in clarity, we're going to really hone in. Now on Facebook and YouTube, on these 15-minute clips, I'll give you what I can in that amount of time. And then just so you know, we go deeper, very much deeper. And we are going to make this available in video form as a series with a book. So if you're interested in that, let us know. Now all the students who are participating, anything you want edited, we will edit. At the end of this series, you'll receive a PDF so that you can access all this work. Okay? So ideally, everybody doing this, and even if you're just catching the clips, you want to pick 2 targets. 2 goals, and they can be of anything tangible, a noun, a feeling, place, a relationship, health, because once you pick a target and you kind of work the system on your own target, you'll actually be teaching yourself. So even though I'm the teacher, I can't really teach you. I can offer you concepts, I can offer you ideas. The truth is you have to teach yourself or you won't retain it, right? And I'm going to give you ways, so the ultimate picture at the end of this series is that you'll have one clean worksheet and you'll understand all the topics. And you just fill in the little bubbles of where you are. And you can real quick look where you're dropping the ball, where you're in alignment, and it will let you know very easily how you can more powerfully co-create on purpose with purpose, right? So that is what I would like to have. Now I'm pretty good at it just on my own, but there are many years I think I could have gone faster if I would have had a dang checklist and understood the pieces of it. So today we are talking about clarity. Our what, that would be what it is you want to manifest, your goal, your target, your end in mind if you're talking principle-based. And then this is a big one that you want to be clear, whose business are you in? Right? So are you picking a target that makes sense? I'll give you a personal example. When I first found out that there was such a thing as financial scarcity and abundance consciousness, and I realized, ooh, I'm so far from that, right? Part of the issue was I really wanted money to help my parents, my siblings, my friends, kids' friends, all this extended circle. Well, that's actually not my business. And so if their consciousness isn't one of prosperity and abundance consciousness, then if that's my intent, it's not going to manifest because I'm playing with too many energies that aren't aligned. Right? So real clarity on what you want. Another glitch I often see is people aren't clear on the why of what they want. So if you're not crystal clear on the why of what you want, you haven't really invested the time that it would take for you to be fully in alignment, right? And so a lot of times, if you don't have a very strong relationship with yourself personally, you think you want things that you don't really want. It's just what you've heard you should want. or it's a pattern that you inherited in believing it's important to you. And again, all of this is very logical. You can relate this to many things that you see in workplaces and careers. A lot of times people will think they're aiming for what it is they want, and then they wake up one day and they're like, this isn't fulfilling, right? Because they were following pressure or an idea that they hadn't really aligned to or fleshed out as their own. So the goal of all of it, in my opinion, is how do you have the best possible experience of your authentic, unique self, right? So it's not about somebody telling you, here, do this. It's about somebody telling you, hey, here's how you think to be the best version of you and get what you want to get, right? So I've been coaching for a long time now. I don't even remember when it switched from tapping to more coaching. And I use the term a success coach because it doesn't matter what you want. I have no judgment, no attachment. I will just help you understand where you're not in vibrational alignment to what you want, right? So basically, this is going to be the do-it-yourself guide. Isn't that funny? Going to talk you out of working with me. All right, so there's a lot to go into on your what and on your why. This is an interesting thing in our culture. We are always taught to get to the next thing. Get the raise, get the promotion, get the next car, get the next house, get the next project done, you get the next vacation planned. And yet, we don't really spend a lot of time in self-observation. Why? Why? If you don't align to your why, like what does it give you? What does it give others? What's your energetic legacy through this manifestation? If you're not aligned to that, you're going to go a lot slower than you could, right? So your why. Then you would go into your how. Now in traditional manifesting, that would be your goals. That would be all the steps necessary. In spiritual growth and personal growth and metaphysical manifesting, your how is also the targets, the action steps, what you're going to do, how you're going to measure it, how you're going to keep up with it. So that's a really big one, the how. And then this is the piece I see most people don't go all the way in. You want to define what your success will be. How will you know when you hit your success, right? If it's buying a new car, okay, you get the new car. And yet a lot of us in the spiritual journey, there's things we want, and we think we'll know it when we have it, and yet if you cannot define what it means to you in your mind today to have it in the future, you're not all the way in. And if you don't have your why crystal clear, you won't follow through. It's really interesting. And this, you know, we're looking at it from a spiritual, relationship, metaphysical point of view, but this is true of everything on earth, right? Need your why. If it's somebody else's why, it's not very fulfilling. And it ends up being drudgery, not joy, right? So success defined, we're going to look at that a lot so we can get into it. You want to be clear on whose business, who benefits from it. Now, if you were with us in the other series, that's your win-win-win. How does it ripple out from you to bless others? We have a perception that we are separate in this plane of existence, and you can manifest that way, but it's very hard. It doesn't give you joy. It doesn't give you the best experience possible. Once you realize that you, being the change you want to see in the world, is a blessing to others too, it's a lot easier to access energy that's bigger than you to orchestrate things, right? So we're going to talk about circle of influence, who is benefiting, and then there's one more piece I wanted to cover. So a lot of students, I've been all excited about this coming up, and I'm sure they can feel that excitement, and I've been nagging everybody, pick two things, pick two things, pick two things. And so a lot of people are having a big rush of chaos, internal stress. And so what will happen is everything that you want that you don't already have, inner peace, or maybe even peace with one certain relationship, different experience of health, or maybe a whole new chapter in your life. It could be a small thing, it could be a big thing, it could be how you show up, it could be what you want to, it could be how you want to do retirement, it could be all kinds of things, right? It could be your relationship with money, people, situation, circumstance, the past, your body, it could be anything. in it, everything you want that you don't already have means it's just outside of your comfort zone. So we all have certain set points. When you start going into more consistent success, you will bump against the set point challenges. How does that show up? It can show up financially. It means something will break and you got to repair it. Emotionally, it'll show up you start arguing with people that you don't usually argue with. Or if you're evolved through being reactive and you're more proactive, then you're just going to feel all this churn in energy, right? And you want to know what to do with it powerfully. You're always going to hit this set point challenge, right? Gay Hendricks, he has a great book called The Big Leap. He calls it a upper limit problem. So, like, have you ever been, let's use dieting, because most people had an experience of that, right? More than not. So you'll do great, you'll do great, you'll do great, and then you'll binge for a week, or a day, or a weekend, and then it's really hard to get back on track. That's because you just pushed out of your comfort zone. And everything on earth is about consistent, stable patterns. So depending on what level the pattern is existing in, it will let you know how much work it is to go beyond it and create something new. Right? So if you're wanting really big things that are big for the unique, authentic self, meaning what's big for me, it doesn't mean it's big for someone else. But with my history, my genetics, my personality, my setup, what's big for me to someone else could be easy, right? And then what's big to someone else is like nothing to me, or I'm not even interested, right? But when I push against my set points, then I'm going to create chaos. So I'll give you a great example of this. So last week I was bragging to the class, sharing my joy, that I have less pain. I've been doing really good, sleeping good, and guess what I did the very next day? I said, ooh, let me try some of the old yoga that I used to love and see how my body likes it. And I totally inflamed my SI joint, which I kind of knew what that was, but when I was in excruciating pain, I was like, okay, let's just be with it, ask what the message is. And I actually, because I'm studying biomechanics of the body as I transform my body, I could see clearly what it was. I was able to Google it. I found out what it is, and I have a SI joint belt on. And it feels marvelous when you put it on. So what does that mean? It means a lot of things when you're talking about clarity. It means that I haven't quite hit what I defined as success. There's more for me to be blessed with. There's more knowledge for me to seek, right? It also means that I hit a set point. Now, this is happening a lot. A lot of old emotions. I might be driving and feel some irritation. Like, that hasn't happened in years for me, unless I'm pushing against a set point. Then all the old energies show up to just say, remember me? Do you want to play? And you know, it has a lot. I have a booking process, so that's a real big scary thing. That's way out of all the comfort zones I could possibly have. I'm overhauling my entire form, which means I'm lengthening the right side of my body that had contracted through fear and chronic limitation and pain. I'm going to have a master's, an equivalent to a master's degree in fascia very soon now, because I've been studying it, researching it. Every week I look for new information on fascia for, was made 2 years, I think. So over 2 years. And so whatever this journey is, well, I can tell you what it is if you want to know. Yes? So I have the obnoxious desire, the what? To be a channel of transformative vibration, divine love, and divine wisdom. Well, I've done boatloads of spiritual work, tons of meditation, tons of studying, tons of teaching, tons of tapping, tons of giving, and I have not quite invested as much time getting the physical form, which is denser, into vibrational alignment for that to be easy, right? So it's not happening to me, it's happening for me, right? When I pull this body into a new evolutionary process to manage the kind of energy that you all know I like to play with, right? I will have a new level of health that is not genetically coded for my family line. So everyone in my birth family has really visible, tangible fascia issues. I will transform that for my kids, for their kids, for me, right? So that's a big thing. So having the level of clarity I have on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, where I'm headed, what it's going to give me, what it's going to give others through me, means that when I am all happy that I'm sleeping through the night without a lot of pain, and then I really hurt myself, means I can bounce with it. It doesn't mean I'm going to drop into the disappointment and the despair. Tempting, but no. I have clarity and my why to help me stay in, hey, I can focus on that, or I can focus on progress. If I focus on progress, I'm rocking it. It is amazing how differently my body is, right? If I focus on progress, it is amazing how good I feel in life. If I focus on progress, it's just incredible how things are rolling smoothly, and I'm coming into a Thrive chapter that I've been aiming for a decade. And now I'm hitting momentum, and I'm hitting a tipping point, right? So without this checklist, I could have done this a little bit sooner, or not. So I'm very happy to share this with everybody and give you insight to why I'm so passionate about it, right? So what's the game? Best possible experience of you by your definition. How do you get there? Understand vibrational law. Understand what works in this plane of existence, why it works, and how to use it for your benefit. Good? Okay, so until next week, sign it off.